wonderful, happy 2021. Today is the 2nd of January, Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, the world has moved on. We have come to 2021. And on 2nd of January 2021 at 5 p.m. Indian Standard Time, we extend a very hearty welcome, warm welcome. It's a pleasure this evening. We have got 19th webinar of the Vivekananda series, where we have come a long way. That is 529 total webinars on different areas, different arenas. And right from 25th of March, we moved on. So ladies and gentlemen, while extending a hearty welcome to each one of you, making education relevant, आइए शिक्षा को प्रासंगिक बनाएं, global confluence of intellectual, Swami Vivekanand Ji's teaching for education and youth empowerment. We have got a very distinguished guest this evening, Dr. Sophat. He is the state coordinator, Swami Vivekanand Study Circle for Punjab. We extend him a very warm welcome this evening. And before I'll hand over you to him, I would like to share a couple of slides so that we all are on the common frequency. Today we are getting a lot of new guests, new friends, new brothers and sisters who are joining this particular program. Now, enlightening talks on Swami Vivekanand's teachings for education and youth empowerment. We started during this pandemic and we took on different themes. And one of the themes which is very important, like today we are going to talk about ideas of Swami Vivekanand Ji and the national awakening. That's what is the talk. So on a different themes, every Saturday, we have been organizing a program. Ladies and gentlemen, our chamber, ICSI, International Chamber for Service Industry, it has come a long way since 1994. There are 31 million non-resident Indians abroad in different countries, in different continents, in different conditions, in different arenas, in different works. Like doctors, nurses, and paramedical people have done a great job last year. Similarly, our teachers, our educators, our principals, our headmasters, our counselors, our vice chancellors, and the entire education ecosystem, they have also done a great job. And all of us, we are working in the direction how to keep education relevant, how to keep education futuristic. Our chamber is organizing almost 26 webinars per week. They are on different themes. That is teachers and youth empowerment. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we are with the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India on different themes. On Friday from Singapore, we bring you water management strategies. Saturday at 5 p.m., Swami Vivekanand Ji's foundation. That is education and youth empowerment, what all is being done. Sunday morning at 9:30, we take you all the way to the United States. We open the door of Universal Studios and right in front is the Burbank, California, Los Angeles, wherefrom we bring a program to you, Srimad Bhagavad Gita and India's main principal Upanishad. Then on Sunday evening at 3 p.m., we have got India ASEAN series. We have got 10 beautiful countries. India's culture moved by King Ashoka and the Buddhism moved on. And a lot of Hindu culture spread into Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Brunei, all the 10 beautiful countries, 650 million people. When you talk about over there, Hinduism and Buddhism, when you talk about, so these beautiful countries, they are the neighbor to our Ashtalakshmi, that is the northeast part of India. When you talk about Tripura, Manipur, Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Arunachal, Nagaland, and Sikkim, 8 beautiful states. And then Sunday evening at 5 p.m., we have got micro, small, and medium enterprise program for all of you. And then, of course, Saturday today, immediately after this program, we have got the next program on Ayurveda, where yoga, meditation, naturopathy, nutrition, organic farming, and whatsoever you need for your body, and whatsoever is good for your mind. And then, of course, every day, Monday to Sunday, in the afternoon at 12:30 in Hindi, you have got a special program, आज का युवा क्या चाहता है, आज की युवा पीढ़ी क्या सोचती है, आज के मिलेनियल्स क्या सोचते हैं, वो जीवन में क्या बनना चाहते हैं, because all other programs are in English language. So there was a special request. And then, of course, Monday to Friday at 3 p.m., we bring 5 principles every day together and they deliberate and they talk on new education policy 2020, which is given on 29th of July. So ladies and gentlemen, let me share with all of you that on 5th of September, that is India's Teachers' Day. We started teachings of Swami Vivekananda and we started this particular series. I'm grateful to my friend and our advisor, Sudeep Majumdarji, based out of Kolkata, and who's doing a great work for the tribal youth and tribal teachers and everybody together. Mataji had come, that is Pravarajika, that is Devananda Pranaji. She had come, editor, English Journal, Samvit. We started the series with her on 5th of September, India's Teachers' Day, as well as the webinar series on Swami Vivekananda is concerned. Thereafter, we got the next program that was next Saturday, that is on 12th of September. That is the philosophy of education according to Swami Vivekananda, and we got the registrar from the Ramakrishna Mission. Thereafter, we moved and we had come to Professor of Education, Vishwabharati Central University, Swami Vivekananda's nation building policy perspective. Thereafter, we moved on. We went all the way to Chicago and we got Swami Ishtamanandaji, and he is the founder secretary, Ramakrishna Mission Port Blair. He spoke to us all the way from Chicago. That was education is the panacea of all the ills. Thereafter, we came to Secretary Ramakrishna Ashram, Jargram. That was tribal empowerment as seen by Swami Vivekananda, and that was held on 3rd of October. Thereafter, we moved to 10th of October, and we got ex-principal Ramakrishna Math Vivekananda Veda Vidyalaya, Vellore, and that was goal of education according to Swami Vivekananda. Thereafter, we came to 17th of October. We got NEP 2020, the new education policy, leadership and management, where Costa Gongoliji had come, and that is associate of the Ramakrishna Mission. Then we got Swamiji, Secretary, Ramakrishna Mission Ashram, Kanpur. That was education for youth, the goal and the way. That was 24th of October. Thereafter, 31st of October, Dr. Sen, what a wonderful deliberations and inputs by her, former Director of Studies, Educational Innovation, Rural Reconstruction, Vishwabharati Central University, that was educating the youth. Then we moved to Swami Sarvapriyanandaji, all the way to New York, that is Minister and Spiritual Leader, Vedanta Society of New York, concentration, the key to Swami Vivekananda's psychology of education. Thereafter, ladies and gentlemen, happy Deepavali. And that time we got the monk of the Ramakrishna, Swamiji, Vedantananda, that was empowering youth. Then we came 21st of November, real education according to Swami Vivekananda, when we got Tirthankar Banerjee, the founding member, Vedanta Society of Iowa. We are grateful to him because besides other, he was a kingpin to get lots of good speakers for us. Swamiji thereafter, office in charge, Ramakrishna Mission, Shilpapita, that is Bulgaria, that is Kolkata, that was character building, key to self-empowerment. Again, thereafter, 5th of December, developing student psychology and psyche and confidence, Swami Vivekananda's philosophy. Correspondent, Ramakrishna Institute of Moral and Spiritual Education, Mysuru. Thereafter, we moved Swami Medhanandaji. Wonderful inputs which were given to us on 12th of December. That was to touch the heart and soul of every youth. The contemporary relevance of Swami Vivekananda's views on education. That is Assistant Professor and Head of the Program in Philosophy, Ramakrishna Mission, Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute in Vellore, West Bengal. Thereafter, we came 19th of December, Swami Vivekananda, one of India's greatest leader, and there we got Dr. Ramaswamy Balasubramaniamji, founder Swami Vivekananda Youth Movement, founder and chairman Grassroots Research and Advocacy Movement, that is GRAM. Then thereafter, ladies and gentlemen, 26th of December, wonderful inputs given to us by Professor Trilochan Sastriji, Founder, Secretary and CEO, Center for Collective Development. That was Karma Yoga for National Development. That was 26th of December. And ladies and gentlemen, today we roll in when we come on to 2nd of January. During this entire pandemic journey, our chamber collected the research and inputs and the synthesis from the whole world, basic food, basic health, and basic education. We got to get back to basics of life. B2B is no more business to business. We have to get back to basics of our life that we all have to understand, sustainable development of the world. And ICSI is moving now in 2021 with 3 triangles, and this golden triangle, holistic education is very important, where education, skills, and with skills we have got competencies, with competencies we have got capabilities. And then education, skills, and entrepreneurship. And when we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about startup also, we talk about stand-up also, we talk about self-employment also. So micro, small, and medium enterprise plays a very important role for us. During this pandemic, entire year 2020, we have been having 12 hours beaming every day, ladies and gentlemen. It was flawless. It was reaching across the entire globe because we are dealing with the non-resident Indians world over. Our efforts were to reach out all the continents from morning 9 o'clock, evening 9 o'clock, 12 hours to suit their convenience. What time suits them? And नववर्ष की आप सबको बहुत-बहुत हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं. 2021 we are rolling in. शाखों पर सजता रहे पत्तों का श्रृंगार, मीठे पकवानों की होती रहे चारों तरफ बहार, मीठी बोली से करते सब एक दूसरे का दीदार, खुशियों के साथ चलो मनाएं नव वर्ष इस बार. इन शब्दों के साथ health and wellness is the concern of everybody. It is very important. Children, teachers, educators, everybody, parents, when they will come out slowly and gradually in phases, they will have lots of mental kind of a pressures, how the world would be, how the things would be, how people would behave. There will be a lot of psychological pressures. Keeping that in mind, we are starting a series with the Ministry of, we have finished with health sector, then we came to wellness sector, then to entrepreneurship sector. Then we kept on keeping you happy, Media Entertainment Sector Skill Council. And now, once again, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting back to wellness through aromatherapy. That is coming through Wellness Sector Skill Council will be with us from 4th of January, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days a week. You will have a program at 5 p.m. What to eat, what to think, how to live, how to behave, how to come out, what exactly has to be done. This all is coming from the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship Sector Skill Council. And our chamber has drawn the roadmap. 2021, we'll be working on future of education. We would like to empower teachers. We would like to empower principals, headmasters, counselors, everybody. And we would like to empower youth, because youth empowerment is very important. And there it is, you got to bring balance between technology and health. It is something very important. बच्चे मोबाइल नहीं छोड़ेंगे और हमने तो खुद उनके हाथ में मोबाइल दिया है. We are telling them make use of mobile so that you can attend your classes and all that and everything. So how to keep education relevant? How to make education relevant? शिक्षा को प्रासंगिक कैसे बनाएं? So thereby बच्चे अगर मोबाइल नहीं छोड़ेंगे तो उनको ये कहें कि सोशल मीडिया में टाइम वेस्ट ना करें. आप सोशल मीडिया से अपनी पॉकेट मनी कैसे अर्न कर सकते हैं, इसके लिए हम आपके लिए 4 तारीख से दोपहर के 12:30 बजे एक विशेष कार्यक्रम शुरू कर रहे हैं. एंड दैट इज हाउ टू अर्न योर पॉकेट मनी फ्रॉम योर मोबाइल. हाउ टू अर्न योर पॉकेट मनी. कोई बच्चा अपने माता पिता से पैसे ना मांगे और हम सभी बच्चों से, सभी शिक्षकों से, सबसे ये कहेंगे टेक्नोलॉजी को आप नहीं रोक सकते. सुनामी की तरह आ रही है, आ गई है. और एक स्टडी आई है कि whatever was to come in Indian education system in next 10 years, जो कुछ भी भारत में अगले 10 साल में होना था एजुकेशन में, वो इस कोरोना के टाइम में 9 महीने में हो गया. So thereby whatever difficulties we faced, we have moved in. So आपको मानसिक तनाव से दूर करने के लिए बच्चे मोबाइल यूज कर रहे हैं, लैपटॉप यूज कर रहे हैं, डेस्कटॉप यूज कर रहे हैं, आईपैड यूज कर रहे हैं, मैं भी यूज कर रहा हूँ, बहुत ज्यादा यूज कर रहा हूँ। तो आज की शाम आपको बैक पेन ना हो, सर्वाइकल ना हो, सियाटिका की प्रॉब्लम ना हो, आई स्ट्रेन ना हो। सो एवरी सैटरडे विवेकानंद जी के प्रोग्राम के बाद, एजुकेशन में यूथ और टीचर्स के एम्पावरमेंट के प्रोग्राम के बाद, वी हैव गॉट अ प्रोग्राम ऑन आयुर्वेदा फॉर ग्लोबल वेलनेस। और इसका आज हमारा 24वां प्रोग्राम है during this particular pandemic, because every Saturday we have got it. So ladies and gentlemen, whatsoever human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Let's come together. Let's make education relevant. हम सब लोग विश्व में इससे वसुधैव कुटुंबकम, पूरा संसार एक परिवार है, हम एक फैमिली है, सब कॉन्टिनेंट के सब भाई बहन हमारे भाई बहन हैं। That is the way we have to look. और अगर आप एजुकेशन को एम्पावर कर दोगे, यूथ को एम्पावर कर दोगे, एजुकेटर्स को एम्पावर कर दोगे, सिस्टम अपने आप एम्पावर हो जाएगा। देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम। सो दिस पर्टिकुलर चेंबर इज फोकसिंग एवरीथिंग ऑन मेकिंग एजुकेशन रेलेवेंट। इट्स अ ग्लोबल कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑफ एजुकेटर, इंस्पिरेशनल स्पीकर्स, मोटिवेटर्स, टेक्नोक्रेट्स, काउंसलर्स, वेलनेस एक्सपर्ट्स, कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नमेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स एंड डिसीजन मेकर्स। इन सबके प्रयास के साथ जुड़कर हमारी ईमेल आईडी भी है, वेबसाइट भी है, और आपको नंबर भी दिया गया है। Should you wish to contact us for anything, you're more than welcome. This evening, it's a proud privilege. On 2nd of January, in the evening, we are having Dr. Sophat ji, the state coordinator, Swami Vivekanand Study Circle, Punjab. Dr. Sophat has more than 23 years of experience in academics, during which he has written many research papers and participated in conferences and seminars. Along with that, he is actively involved with Swami Vivekanand's mission. He is the state coordinator of Swami Vivekanand Study Circle Punjab, and he is the state Samparak Pramukh Vivekananda Kendra, Kanya Kumari, जहां पर भारत की भूमि का नक्शा नीचे जहां पर आप लेकर चलते हैं। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ आज की शाम आइए, आमंत्रित हैं आप सभी, जुड़िए। और YouTube के ऊपर GS मोटिवेटर पर मैं चाहता हूं कि आप ज्यादा से ज्यादा अपने कमेंट्स डालें, आप ज्यादा से ज्यादा पार्टिसिपेट करें, हमें पता लगे कि आप हमारे साथ प्रोग्राम में जुड़े हैं कि नहीं जुड़े हैं, आप आए हैं कि नहीं आए हैं, आप क्या सोचते हैं, और आपका कोई भी सुझाव है। हम स्वामी विवेकानंद जी की टीचिंग की सीरीज में चल पड़े हैं, इस यात्रा में हैं और इस प्रयास में हैं। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ आज की शाम we extend a very hearty welcome to Dr. Sophat ji, and we take on our journey forward. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, from the entire global fraternity, let's extend a very warm welcome, hearty welcome, and happy new year, and lots of blessings to Dr. Sophat ji.
Yes. Namaskar. Thanks, Dr. Gulshan Sharma ji, Director General of International Chamber for Service Industry. You have done a lot job, and you are doing a remarkable job during this pandemic. The excellent work which was needed for the people, not only in the nation, but throughout the world. So it's really impressive. And I hope that the work you have done during the last few decades will continue with more power and vigor in the coming decades too. And I wish and the Almighty will give you strength and all that needed for the welfare of the society, for which you are working a lot. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to share views on Swami Vivekanand. Before I proceed, I want to pray at the feet of my Sharda Thakur Shri Ramakrishna Paramhans and Swami Vivekananda ji. The topic of today's talk is Ideas of Swami Vivekananda and National Awakening. It's a very vast topic, and before I proceed for that, I wish to say a few things before I proceed for that. That I am not an authority on Swami Vivekananda. I am only a student of Swami Vivekananda's life and teachings. So whatever I could have gained and whatever my wisdom can ask me to deliver, that I will share with you people. And I think the more I will learn, then I will give you something. When we talk of Swami Vivekananda, and after 10 days, we are going to celebrate National Youth Day on 12th of January. He is the national ideal of Indian youth, and his birthday has been dedicated for the youth to celebrate it as National Youth Day. And India's today's youth, that is the 21st century youth, is very scientific. This youth is not going to believe what you want to preach to them. This youth has his own mind. Until and unless this youth is convinced, only then they take up the idea. Otherwise, they will not take up the idea. Whatever you want to say, you can say. And what the today's youth can see among the national awakening. Actually, what is national awakening? When we talk of national awakening, it means that our nation as a whole is moving forward, is grasping the ideas, is feeling for the brother and sister of the nation, and they have a very great idea that what is prevailing and what is going to be in the future. And when we say that the idea of Swami Vivekananda contributed a lot in the national awakening, then we must understand that when Swami Vivekananda came to the horizon of the world, at what time, at that time, what was the situation of the country? And we are living in this 21st century, and we are now hoping and trying to be a power, to be a Vishwa Guru in the whole world. But what was the situation in the 19th century when Swami Vivekananda was born on 12th January 1863? He had a life of only 39 years, 5 months and 22 days. He could not complete 40. And even his public life was less than 9 years after the Chicago address. And if we take the whole things, which the Swami Vivekananda had the wanderings in India also, then it is not more than 13 or 14 years. He was a young sannyasi at that time. And what was the polity of that time? The polity of that time was that the Indian kings were behaving like slaves to the British rule. What to talk about the intellectual? What to talk about a common man? The people who were having a great influence, the Indian princes and the kings of that time, they were bowing down their heads before a simple soldier of the British. That was the mentality of the people at that time. And even when we talk of a social field, the poverty, you can say even the diseases, they were outpouring like anything. Even you cannot imagine, even when we talk of the poverty of that time, of the millions of people, of the crores of people at that time. I'm not talking of a few people who were elite and having a richness of all that time, but the people who were at the ground level. There were thousands and lakhs of women who were not having even a second cloth. And whenever they have any dead body in their house, they will have to tear off their own sari, the single cloth, to put on, wrap the body, put it into the Ganges and the other rivers, and they will pull out the cloth again, and then they will wrap their own body again. That was the level of. And when a famine happened, the lakhs of people died. And the main strength which we generally talk of, the religion in India. And what was the situation of religion in that period? Even the Indian scriptures we are feeling proud of, the copy was not available. There are many instances when the Indian reformers went from one place to another place for a debate, and a copy was tried to procure, and there was not even a copy available of the Indian scriptures, whether Upanishads or Vedas. This was the level of the religious vacuum that was being created, actually vacuum that has been created. And another thing, even the top reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar has even written that even without religion, even I cannot do anything like social reform in India. And I could not say anything against widow remarriage unless and until I could have a verse from the Vedas to be quoted. Only then I could have dared to write down and took my pen. That was and the superstitions are all that kind were prevailing like anything in India. And in overall, if we want to say like anything, even William Hastings has said that the Indian intellect is nothing more like a dog or monkey. That was the impression that the world was having about us. Even James Mill, talk so poor about the Indian culture and the Indian people at that time. And leave aside those people, the mentality was so slavish at that time. Even Vivekananda said, if India is not dead, it was almost dead. This is Vivekananda has said. Why he has said it? Because when he wandered throughout the India from Kanya Kumari, from Kashmir to Kanya Kumari, he saw that there is no flame in the country. What to talk about to ask the Britishers to move away? Even the people were not talking of the freedom at that time. And you quote anything in the 19th century, up to the 1890s, there is no political freedom movement at that time. And the only organization which came into existence in 1885, Indian National Congress, they were only asking some rights, not the Indian freedom at all. You can check out any resolution of the Indian National Congress at that time. That was the pain Vivekananda had. That we want the nation to grow. We want the nation to be free. And where is the awakening? Even the top reformers of that time, which even went abroad, they were practically praising the foreign rule. I will not name them, but you can check it there. They were praising the foreign rule. Then who will talk about the national awakening and the Indian independence and what we are thinking in this 21st century? India is the world leader. That was Swami Vivekananda. And when we talk about Swami Vivekananda, that he is not a simply social or religious reformer. He is not simply a reformer or a revolutionary who came forward and said something and there was a flame and everything. No, not at all. When we talk about Swami Vivekananda, then we must say that he is the more ever produced by human race, the greatest intellectual, spiritualist ever Indian or any foreign race has produced. I have two words. Greatest intellectual, scientist of his own kind, as well as spiritualist. Generally, we have a spiritualist of a top rank and we call them prophets and everything. And on the other side, we have the greatest scientists and many of them are today Nobel laureates. But there is only one. When we talk about the scientist, he is the person who could rub shoulders with the scientists of his time. And the scientists accepted that he knows more than us. In the modern idiom of science, not in some other words. I will come to that point again. And when we talk of the spirituality, he is the beloved follower of Ramakrishna Paramhans, the greatest spiritual mind the human race has ever produced. And when Vivekananda bowed down his head before Ramakrishna Paramhans and accepted him as Guru, then we say that the greatest intellectual mind bowed down before the greatest spiritual mind of that time in 1883. And then up to 1886, they were together. And when we talk about Vivekananda, then he is the greatest intellectual, greatest scientific mind, and the greatest spiritual ever Indian or any foreign race has ever produced. When we say so, then some people may think, and the Indian youth may think that he's an Indian, that is why we are saying so. Not at all. I will just quote a few incidents and facts before you. When I say that he is the greatest scientific mind, why? I will just quote 3 incidents. First incident is when before he even went to Chicago, during his college and school days, his teachers used to say, the foreign teachers, the English teachers used to say like that he's unparalleled intellect. And the incident of the Merit Library, everybody knows that he used to finish 10 books in a day, and the librarian asked, is it possible? Then he came to the librarian and the librarian asked something from a book and he quoted the whole book. He was having so much high level of concentration and intellect. And that was proved when he met Professor W.H. Wright of Greek department of Harvard University, a university which produces Nobel laureates. The maximum Nobel laureates, I think, have been produced by the Harvard University. And when he met the head of the Greek department, Professor W.H. Wright, whose students are matchless at that time. And what W.H. Wright says, that here is a man who is more learned than all the professors of America put together. And this is not a compliment that has been given simply, you can say, I think I have.
हाँ जी बताइए.
I think I have something. My video is not there coming.
नहीं, your video is not coming जी.
I have something.
No. Please take your time. No problems.
Okay.
हाँ जी.
How can I join it again?
हाँ जी, आप दोबारा आ सकते हैं. लेकिन आपके पास, but you have got a right to show your video. आपके पास राइट है अपना वीडियो शो करने का. आप दोबारा लॉग इन करना चाहते हैं?
जी सर प्लीज.
हाँ, आ जाइए, दोबारा आ जाइए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. आप दोबारा आ जाइए, नो वरीज. आप दोबारा आ जाइए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in conversation with Dr. Vinay Sophat ji, and he is talking to us basically today on Swami Vivekanand, and he is talking on that series with us. Yes.
And W.H. Wright said that he is a man who is more learned than all the professors of America put together. It's not a simple compliment. He has written this letter to Vivekanand to show it to the organizers who are organizing the World Parliament of Religions. And then he again says that you are asking me to give a permission to participate in the World Parliament of Religions. Swami Vivekanand, for you to ask like thing is to just like a son is asking the right to rise. This is the level of intellect he was having. Leave aside W.H. Wright, even W. James, the greatest psychologist, he is claiming that the Vivekananda knows much more than me. And when we are talking of the scientists in the real term, the greatest scientist of that time was the Calvin and Helmholtz. And the person who was producing the instruments for this scientist, he was Elisha Gray. Like just many scientists invent something but they put into practice by some machine, and that machines were being sold by the businessman, and that great businessman was Elisha Gray, whose instruments were even in the display in the World Parliament of Religions. And Elisha Gray hosted a meeting in which the greatest scientists of that time participated. Elisha Gray's meeting in a dinner. And what kind of scientists were participating in the dinner? Helmholtz, Calvin, and all the most Nicholas Tesla. It's whose name even a unit is there in the physics. And Tesla is the only scientist ever in the world that who was given Nobel Prize and he refused to accept. Even Nicholas Tesla's students have been given Nobel Prizes. And Nicholas Tesla is talking to Vivekananda at the dinner, and he is so impressed that he only invited one person to his laboratory to visit, and he was only Vivekananda invited. At Vivekananda's choice of time and day, though there is no proof that whether Vivekananda visited or not. And secondly, he organized a dinner in honor of Vivekananda. And that dinner was a vegetarian dinner. Though Vivekananda does not stick to vegetarianism, he advocates both the things. But Nicholas Tesla was having so much regard for Vivekananda, a young man of only 29 years, at that time 30 years, and he was giving a vegetarian dinner in honor of Swami Vivekananda.
Wow.
And Helmholtz or Calvin are saying that no doubt the discoveries we have made, but the next chapter is being taught to us by Vivekananda. That was the level of intellect. And when he talked to them in physics, he talked in terms of atom. When he talked to the chemistry people of scientists at that time, he talked in terms of the elements. I will not go into the details at that time, but you can check the records, and every scientist he met, every scholar like Max Muller he met, they were so impressed that I will just quote one incident. And when they were completely impressed that Vivekananda is matchless as far as the Indian culture is concerned, the Indian values are concerned. They took him into non-cultural and non-religious part. All the utilitarians, all the atheists came together. Then let us ask Vivekananda in his own terms, not in the terms the Vivekananda is speaking in the terms of spirituality or the Vedanta or the light, the scientist on at that time. They organized Leon Landsberg saying that they utilitarians and the ritualists, other people, they came on a one platform, asked Vivekananda to reply, and he says that Vivekananda said to them after listening their questions, please put yourself on particular page and you will find the answer. And what was the result? He says that the next day, these utilitarians were sitting at the feet of Swami Vivekananda learning the Indian culture. That was the intellect Vivekananda was having. And that intellect was needed for the Indian youth and Indian people at that time. Because what the Indian people were thinking, as the Britishers were saying, outside their hotels, that Indians and dogs are not allowed. As William Hastings is saying, Indian intellect is nothing more like a dog or at the most a monkey. And on the other side, an Indian young man of just 29 and 30 years, he is rubbing shoulders with the greatest scientists of the world in their own house, in their own country. Can you imagine? A slave country is a slave man can rub shoulders like that. It is possible only that he was having the greatest intellect of that time. And when I am saying that he was the greatest spiritualist also, but at that part will come over again. And what message he gave from that country. And when we are talking of 11 September, Vivekananda's world famous speech, actually, we must say that India was free on 15th August 1947. But the seed of 15th August 1947 was sown on 11 September 1893. Britishers were saying that you are a slave. And what Vivekananda says in that World Parliament of Religions, where he spoke only 474 words, that I am proud to belong to a nation which has sheltered both the persecuted and the persecutors. When the Israelites were pulling down from their own nation, India gave them shelter. India gave shelter to the Zoroastrians. And when every religion was aspiring to show that our religion is the greatest religion in the world, what Vivekananda said, he talked about universal tolerance and acceptance. And when the Indian youth, or 19th century, was ridiculing Indian religion, Hindu religion at that time particularly, we can say, with branding bottles and beef in the streets of Calcutta, what Vivekananda says in the World Parliament of Religions, I am proud to belong to a mother of religions. I am proud to belong to a religion which has sheltered the both persecuted and the people. And he talked about universal tolerance, not only universal tolerance, but universal acceptance. The message he gave at that time, that the world can live only when they can live with cooperation with each other. That is the message even today's world is accepting, that we must learn how to live with cooperation to one another. Now, nobody talks that you can live only if I will live. Now says you can also live, I can also live, we can live together. This was the message Vivekananda gave at that time. And when these words, it was not that the people accepted him like that, no. But people have so much impressed that how a person can speak just 5 words, sisters and brothers of America, and the whole world is impressed. It cannot be possible unless and until the person has the purest of character. Otherwise, you and me can speak so many words like that, but nobody is impressed. And when Swami Vivekananda spoke these 5 words, then whole audience of 6,000 people of the highest intellect level across the world, they were on their feet. And Mrs. Rogers says, after that speech, that Swami Vivekananda, if you can bear this onslaught now, then you are a messenger, you are not a human being, you are a messenger of God. Then she again says, and Vivekananda proved that he is. Messenger of God. And even the American press, if you go through that at that time, You will wonder how the American press took him. Some said that even if he would not have spoken a single word and just have walked across the stage, it would have been a conqueror. And some talked him like he talked like Ashoka, he walked like Ashoka. And some said that he walked like Napoleon. And some talked that now the Christian missionaries should not be sent to India. If Vivekananda belongs to India, because now India does not need any religion to be taught by anybody else. But on the other side, there were people who started opposing him also. Even the person who fell at the feet of Vivekananda at the later stage, Rockefeller, he gave $5 lakh at that time to a church for this Parliament of Religions on 31st October 1893. It's another story that he met him in Paris, then he fell at the feet of Vivekananda and started donating his money, and the Rockefeller Foundation is one of the greatest foundations now the world is ever seeing. It's a different story. Ingersoll, who was charging $650 per hour, one of the greatest orators, he fell at the feet of Swami Vivekananda and became his follower. Goodwin, who was just writing down his speeches, he fell down at the feet of Swami Vivekananda, became his follower, and later on came to India also. So this was the impact that Swami Vivekananda was having. And on the other side, the Indian people could not have imagined that such a thing, powerful thing can exist in India. And what Vivekananda was talking in America, he was just talking in Vedanta, Indian culture, but in the modern idioms and with a broad mind and a sharp intellect. And that was the first, you can say, that the feed of Indian youth at that time. And when he came to India, he saw that the people cannot digest it unless and until they are having the strength within. That is why he said, throw the Indian scriptures for 50 years into the sea. First, gather your strength. You can be nearer to God more by playing football than reading a Gita. That is why he said to the Indian youth of that time, no scriptures, nothing that of intellectual or wisdom. Strength is life and weakness is death. That is why he said to the Indian youth at that time, I love you, but I feel and I pray that you must die for a noble cause. These were the words that inspired the youth at that time, and nothing like that. Generally, we talk of Gita because it was one thing that we can replace Gita's word with another, that is a strength. Because Arjuna was totally depressed and was wondering when Lord Krishna told him Gita, and that Arjuna rose, and then the whole battle was changed. And secondly, in Punjab, we generally talk of Guru Gobind Singh. Shubh karmante kabu na doru na taru are so sab jai ladu nischay kar apni jit kuru. When I have decided to fight, the victory is mine. And when the Sikhs do ardas, or the other people do ardas, they start the Pratham Bhagoti Samarke. First we worship strength, then we take the name of Guru Nanak. But what Vivekananda is saying, before Vivekananda saying that we should have a world famous quote of Napoleon, nothing is impossible in this world. And what Vivekananda is saying, he says that everything is possible in this world. This is the difference. And when Vivekananda says everything is possible in this world, then he puts the whole Indian culture and religion behind it and try to convince the people, yes, everything is possible in this world. Because in India, we generally say that everything is done by the God and nothing can be possible without God. And where is God? Then the second, every Indian farmer, peasant, even the poorest of the poor will tell you that God is within me. Then Vivekananda can ask, if the strongest, omnipotent God is within you, how can you be weak? It is just like that I have all the money of the world and still I am poor. It is not possible. That is why Vivekananda says, everything is possible in this world. Just try to see within, just try to gather that strength within, and then you can shake the world. You alone can shake the world. You don't need any other person to do so. Only you can do so. That was the strength was given to the Indian youth at that time, Indian people at that time, that let us come together, let us rise. And that why the Indian nation started rising. And what was the problem behind that? The biggest problem was that the major two components of the society were so ill treated at that time that no nation can imagine of rise at that time. And what were the two major components? Women and Shudra, women and the downtrodden. And when we talk of women, it's very important that it is not only the condition of women that we are to give the rights. It is the character also. That is why the major emphasis of Vivekananda is that our education should be character making education and man making education. He has coined two words: man making education and character making education. He said that my only mission in life is for man making. And what was the Vivekananda's own character? He was a sannyasi, he was a brahmachari, but he did not follow brahmachari in the Himalayas, in the caves of Himalayas. He kept his brahmacharya even in the most advanced country of the European nations, like America and America also. That was his character. And when we talk about the character of Vivekananda, then I just remember an incident, name of Emma Calvé, the greatest opera dancer and the most beautiful woman of the world at that time. Even the French prince was in love with her, but she refused to marry to that French prince. And that Emma Calvé came to Swami Vivekananda to meet. And she was so depressed, and Vivekananda talked to her without seeing her in terms of sister and mother. Then that Emma Calvé wrote in her diary that if I could have ever seen God in a human being, then I have seen him today. That was the character of Vivekananda. And that Emma Calvé even wrote that Vivekananda told that I will never cross 40. And when she got the news that Vivekananda had died, she came to India to check. Really, he had died because he had promised that I shall never cross 40. And then she wrote, yes, in 1902 and 4th of July, she has left the mortal remains. That was the character of Vivekananda. And Vivekananda then says to Indian women, and what is the message to Indian women? That Sita is an ideal for Indian women. In this 21st century, when we talk to the youth, then the youth may start ridiculing and may start smiling cunningly. That Sita can be an ideal of Indian woman, because generally we have a perception about Sita is that she is a very weak woman. And when Ram asked Sita to leave and she left, and when Ram asked to prove her character, she had to prove her character. But when Vivekananda says that the Sita is an ideal of Indian woman, then he says in terms of strength. Swami Vivekananda said that the Sita is the most, is a woman who has the greatest strength within. Because Sita, Ram did not marry Sita. It was Sita who did the swambar. Sita chose her husband. Sita put the condition that the person who will fulfill the condition, only that person I will marry. And there's an incident, beautiful incident, that some sage asked Sita, Sita, you are very beautiful. You have a great husband also. And third person that the people generally like is that the husband should be obedient. And Ram is very obedient also. The woman should be obedient to the great person also. And you are very obedient also. Then Sita replied smilingly, no doubt, I am beautiful. No doubt, I have a great husband. But you can't say whether I am more obedient to Ram or Ram is more obedient to me. That is why Vivekananda says, जिसको हम कहते हैं ना, in Indian terms we talk about Ardhangani, that Sita was the real Ardhangani of Ram. It was Sita who gave strength to Ram when he was going to Banvas. That I shall also go with you. Otherwise, how a woman can say like that? It was Sita who gave advice to Ram when a people of that society started questioning Ram's integrity towards the social rules. Then she said to Ram that he must follow Raj Dharam. He does not follow Parivar Dharam. And that was Sita's self-reliance and self-confidence. and self-respect that she did not come again also. Because she did not want that only one Sita should be an example. She wanted that every Indian woman should be like a Sita and should be given the priority like Sita. That is why for the larger cause, he said, my self-respect will not be complete at when even if a single Indian woman is left without self-respect. That is why. But see, what he questions is also. And he was having so much respect for the Indian woman also that he talked about the Indian woman in the West, that our Indian women are as capable as you, but only problem is that the Indian women are not educated. Give them the education and they will be better than you people. And now the India is proving all that. The more the Indian women are getting education, we are marching ahead. And but he said one caution also, that I want that Indian woman should be educated. But if the Indian women are to be educated at the cost of a character, then I would say that we don't want this education. Because it is the character of the Indian woman that India is safe. When we generally talk of how Muhammad Iqbal's share, मिस्र रोमन जुनानो सब मिट गए इस जहां से बाकी है अभी तक नामो निशानी हमारा. कोई बात है कि मिटती नहीं हस्ती हमारी, दुश्मन रहा है दौरे जमा हमारा. Who has saved India for thousands of years? Sorry, I am to say, but it is not the male who saved India for thousands of years. They were defeated in the battlefields. They were slaves. We had all the atrocities from the foreigners because our soldiers were defeated in the battlefields. But still, our soldiers were defeated in the battlefields. We became slaves, but our Indian culture was kept intact for thousands of years because Indian women did not compromise with the character. They kept that character pure in the family. They kept that culture in the Indian family, and that is why Indian culture is still surviving. Otherwise, you check out any nation in the world which was slave for more than 100 years, there is no culture of that nation left. Throughout the world. You talk of Egypt, you talk of Mesopotamia, you talk of Iran, you talk of Iraq, you talk of Saudi Arabia, even you talk of the European countries. Even Greece culture is not having that kind of temperament which it was famous for, but Indian culture could survive because Indian women did not compromise. That is why Vivekananda says, you must have a strength like Sita, but you must have a character also, and that should not be compromised. That was the message that came to India at that time. And when the Indian people started talking many more things, then he even scolded them like anything. Then you talk of so many things, but your own brother fellows, the downtrodden, are living a miserable life and you are doing nothing. That is why he says, he coined the word Dridhar Narayan. That is why he said that Jiva is Shiva. Even his brother monks were not ready to accept his philosophy at that time. They questioned him after the formation of Belur Math, that you are asking us to leave bhakti and serve the poor. Vivekananda had to say to them, your bhakti is nonsense, sentimental. If your bhakti is only for yourself, then leave it. It is selfish. If your bhakti is for the welfare of the common people, only then I can accept it. They said that Ramakrishna Paramahansa did not say like that. Vivekananda said, you know better than me what Ramakrishna said. This was an interaction with his own brother monks. Then you can just imagine what was the condition of the people at that time, a common masses. And whatever he said, he proved with his own practical examples. There was a famine in 1897 in Calcutta. He and his brother monks served like anything. And in the next year, there was a plague. And people say that 1/3 of Calcutta people died. And you know, I could have never imagined such a scenario unless and until this pandemic. During the pandemic, we have seen with our own eyes, then the people refused to cremate their own mothers. Own mothers, cremate. Because she was a victim of corona. These were the examples. In Ludhiana also there is an example. The person did not enter even the cremation ground. And we have seen so many people though who are not even ready to touch that I will also be fell victim to corona. And you can just imagine what would have been the condition at that time when the plague had a death toll of 1/3 of the population. No, it even a household left. People started running, leaving their own kith and kin. It was Vivekananda and his brother monks who said to them, giving them the pamphlets, giving them the awareness, go to their places, we will wash you. He said at that time, and they did it practically. They even did not wash their only clothes and utensils. They even washed their latrines, their vomitings. Can you ever imagine that a sannyasi doing such a service to a common man? Generally, we had an impression that the sannyasis want service from the common man. That is the practical Vedanta Vivekananda told the Indians. That if we are the sannyasis, then it is our work to do welfare to the society. It does not mean that we should do only bhakti. And even it said at that time that even I am to sell my mutt, Ramakrishna mutt, which he had own constructed at his guru's name, that if I have to sell it, then please sell it. Can you ever imagine any person can dare to say that I am ready to sell a gurdwara or a mandir or a masjid or a church to purchase medicines? When during this pandemic, we were talking about in the social media that what is the use of these temples and churches which should have the medicine and hospitals. This Vivekananda had proved more than 122 years ago with his own example. That yes, first the medicine is needed for the poor. These things will come afterwards. That was the love for the poor and downtrodden. Even he, as everybody knows, that his only one mission in life from the childhood was that I want to see God. To see God, he went to Ramakrishna Paramahansa. To see God and realize God, he accepted him as his guru. But it is Vivekananda who says that I am ready to go to hell for 1,000 times and I am ready to come again and again in this life. I don't want moksha. Let God give me the opportunity to serve this poor man. That is Vivekananda. In this way, he scolded the Indians at that time that what you are talking about if you are not ready to serve your own brother fellows. If you are going to ridicule your own culture, which has produced such a greatest man for thousands of years. No doubt he was irrational also. He did not defend the weakness of Indians. He said to them that the Indian downfall started the day you started, you have coined the word Malech, the untouchable. He openly said that your religion has now become the kitchen religion. You are so superstitious that you don't know even what the true religion is. He scolded them like anything. That is why from these teachings of Vivekananda rise another India. And how that rise? That rise through the Indian freedom fighters. And who were the major Indian freedom fighters? Though every Indian freedom fighter was impressed. You talk about Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi became Mahatma Gandhi when he read Vivekananda, and then he said that even he tried to meet him in 1901 in the Calcutta conference. He went to Belur Math also. And when he read Swami Vivekananda, then he said, my love for my country has increased 1,000-folds. This is Mahatma Gandhi. That is why Mahatma Gandhi takes the example of Dridra Narayan and called them Harijan. That is why he started living in the colonies of the Harijan. That is why Subhash Chandra Bose said that if Swami Vivekananda would have been alive, I would have been sitting at his feet. When I talk about Swami Vivekananda, this is Subhash Chandra Bose said, I feel an electric current running in my veins. That is why Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who's in his personal character, he was an atheist, that he says that there is fire and flame in every word of Swami Vivekananda. In my generation, no one is there who was not impressed by Swami Vivekananda. It was Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, that who declared that Swami Vivekananda can be an ideal of Indian youth, though he himself was an atheist. You talk of every revolutionary. Historians write that the revolutionaries kissed the gallows with Vivekananda in their pockets and Vande Mataram on their lips. Even the English Inspector General of Police writes a CID report to the Indian Consul in London that I cannot say that Ramakrishna Mission is producing the revolutionaries. I cannot say. This is what he has written. But I am sure that every revolutionary is being inspired by Ramakrishna Mission. And they held a, you know that when Mr. Triggett, the Deputy Inspector General of Police, went to Pondicherry in Arvindo Ashram, then he had a press conference and said a CID report that I have found an explosive from Pondicherry Ashram of Arvindo. And what was that explosive? That was the soil of Belur Math. Even the Britishers were, even Sister Nivedita had to cut off ties with Ramakrishna Mission Ashram, because Ramakrishna Mission Ashram, the teachings and life and teachings of Swami Vivekananda were so inspiring that Indian youth was just coming forward to get the nation liberated. And Vivekananda had already said in 1898, India shall be free within 50 years. It was Vivekananda, he said at that time, that I see Mother India sitting on a throne much higher than in the ancient India by the turn of the next century. And that's what we are seeing today. This was the Vivekananda. And even after independence, Vivekananda's teaching continuously inspired the people. And that is why the India is rising. And what Vivekananda had said, that was not just for a few decades or a few centuries. He himself said, when a brother fellow asked him what Vivekananda was speaking to him during the last days, particularly perhaps during his last day on 4th of July, that only a Vivekananda can understand what Vivekananda has done. It was Vivekananda who said that after me, my bones will speak for 1500 years. Because whatever he has written, that is still to be unfolded. I have not touched those aspects because even the Rutherford gave atomic theory in 1912, which was modified by Bohr in 1912 and then modified in 1916. Bohr and Rutherford. Vivekananda talked of the 3 parts of the atom during his speeches on the cosmic and the other lectures, and he expired in 1902. That is why Vivekananda inspired the Indians of that time, and the India rose and India free on 15th August 1947. We are on the now march on the path of world glory. Now we are on the path when we are ready to be world leader. But we must admit, and we must, I can say that we must be conscious that what Vivekananda has said, we should not deviate from those teachings. Because he has not said for any particular community or any particular community. He has said for the world and particularly for the Indian nation. That is why he is saying that I worship, that my now only God is Mother India. That is why the India became free on 15th August 47. And if I could have anything to say on these teachings of Vivekananda, then I would just like to add 2 or 3 lines to that before I close it down. That we must sit in our family. Students and youth must sit with their parents and just tell them one thing. And the parents also just tell their kids one thing. Everything will be all right with the inspiration of Vivekananda, and we will be at the world glory, and the wish of Guru dream will be fulfilled in our own times, and we will be able to see if we just do one thing. And that one thing is the students and kids and the youth must tell their parents, then please don't bring a single penny of corruption in the family. And parents should also say to their kids also that I will not be able to fulfill all your dreams, but I will not try to fulfill every of your dream with a single penny of corruption. If we could have done so, then it would have been a different story today. But still, if we do it now, then it would be an entirely different picture tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vinay Sophat ji. Very inspirational and right from the heart. You gave us so much of valuable inputs, and it's very difficult to recapitulate everything. But what all you have given us to, right from the historical perspectives, also a couple of things you have given to us. But yes, 11th of September 1893, 127 years back. And the best part, the greatest intellectual scientist, spiritual leader, and high level of concentration, and 474 words of Swami Vivekanand ji. And besides that, universal acceptance by everybody, this particular gentleman. And then you quoted quite a bit from others also, Napoleon, and just recoining and repackaging the same words. He told nothing is impossible, and he told everything is possible. Yes, and women and downtrodden, which you touched and which you gave it over there, very important, very, very important. And our education should be building the character, and particularly strength like Sita, what you have made a mention. We should make good human beings. And Darit Narayan, what you talked about, the famine you talked about, the plague, what you talked about, and what all Swami Vivekanand ji took up. It's a wonderful, inspirational, what you have given the complete perspective. And I think today you unfolded many pages of the history. And ladies and gentlemen, history is not only to be read, history is to be rewritten also in many forms. Because you are a professor of history, and you can put the things in a right perspective, and the chronology what you have given over here, and I think the finale which he has given to all of us, that is something fantastic. Everything has to start from our home. What are your inspiration? What is your greed? And what exactly you tell your children, and what children tell your parents? I think it's a traffic both ways which has to be taken into consideration. And I personally feel there is a lot to take today, particularly from this particular evening. And on 2nd of January, when we have come with Swami Vivekanand's teachings, and particularly for our education, fraternity, and the youth, nothing could have been more wonderful than to start our new year with Dr. Vinay Sobatji. I think my deepest gratitudes and thanks to you. It was wonderful to have you today with us. And this gets on to YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. You can watch any point of time. People, those who have missed it today, you can see it on the GS Motivator. Every Saturday evening, 5 p.m., we will be having Swami Vivekanand's teachings, and what inspiration we get for our youth, for our teachers, for our humanity, for our civilization, for our society, and the entire world education ecosystem. And Dr. Saab, today you have come into my fold. Now you have to work very, very hard, because I'm work alcoholic, and I'm deeply, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, culturally, and in a very humble way, as a soldier, totally dedicated, whatever best we can do for our empowering education ecosystem. On 12th of January, on Youth Day, we will do something very big with you. We both will plan. We will see what we can do. And let's do it in the beautiful state of Punjab itself, what we can do, how we can get the people. And then, of course, the global fraternity will get together and we will plan it out. With these words, our deepest gratitudes and thanks to you for having joined us this evening, and all the participants who have come today. Wishing you all a wonderful year ahead. There's a lot to share. There's a lot to discuss. There's a lot to take. And there's a lot to give to the universe. We want to make world a better place for everybody, where we all live peacefully with a very pious and a dedicated feelings. And what comes finally from Dr. Vinay is give, 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 give. Don't take. That is something which we all have to understand, and beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Saab. Thank you very much. It was wonderful to have you with us. And God bless you and wish you a great year ahead. And be ready now. You have to work very hard.